see,
Yes, indeed.
is Clifford, is Jermaine on?
Yeah, I'm on here. What's going on, Kai?
What's up,
What's up,
brother?
Jermaine?
Hey, what's going on, Grant?
All
Hey,
right,
everybody.
man.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you guys. I love the logo. The second what Grant was saying, man. I love that royal color that you got in that logo, man. That's royalty.
Aha, thank you, man. Thank you, man. So I usually try to give it just a few more minutes to make sure everybody jump on, but we are recorded, so I want to respect your time and kind of, jump into things.
No worries, man. I'm here to serve. So if you want to take a few more minutes, I do the same thing on my call, or if you're ready to jump in, whatever you need, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, man. Thank you. I definitely wanted to have you on because a lot of our guys, I know a lot of people have saw your YouTube video on of like just your story a little bit, but I kind of want them to hear a little bit more from you, just like maybe a background, but more so. And I'll leave the floor to you to give any insight and jewels, but mainly just the mentality and mindset as far as, coming from, I know a little bit of your story, you were doing Uber, but I know you had some other ventures and things that you were doing as well.
Yeah.
But just coming from that side of the spectrum over to insurance with really no experience other than, passing your license, but just following the system that anybody really can win in.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. Happy to share, and thanks for having me on. When Genesis reached out, I was like, oh, heck yeah, no doubt. I'll jump on anything I could share to help anybody. Hopefully it'll be beneficial to you. But yeah, a little bit of my story. So I'm 35. Just turned 35 in October. Married now. This year will be 16 years. My wife is in the background, says beautiful wife, which I was gonna say anyway. Yeah, and I've got three kids. They're beautiful too. But I found Family First Life almost 5 years ago now. I was in more of kind of a client development role, sales role, if you will, and I was laid off. And I started driving Uber, and my Uber passenger told me about Family First Life. So that's how I got started. I had no insurance experience. Got licensed in about 5 days, and then started working in June of 2017, and then made 160K that year. I was one of the rookies of the year in 2017 for Family First Life, and then from there just started building an agency, man. And I consistently produce 300,000 to 400,000 a year, and our agency does 450 to 500 in paid business monthly. And so, we're building, we're growing, and like you were saying, my success is just a testament to hard work and following the Family First Life system. And the system is real simple. I mean, you get leads, you call them, you go out and you help the clients that want your help. And you ring, swash, repeat. You plug into the trains like you guys are doing. As much as possible, you communicate with your manager, mentor, upline, whatever you want to call them, and you make tweaks as you go. You go through the ups and downs of it, and you treat this like it's a business, not like it's a hobby. You take it seriously, and you'll make serious money. So that's kind of the intro. Anything that I left out, Kyrie, that you want me to touch on there?
No, man. Listen. I love it that way, where it's like kind of organic. Because I truly believe that really anybody can do this business, and we all know it. There's not one secret sauce or thing that separates, one person than the other, besides how much hard work they put in, how well they work the system. So a person gets to their first 100 appointments within their first 3 weeks to 5 weeks, are going to have the same results as someone who took 6 months to get to their first 100 appointments.
Yeah.
The only thing is, one's going to fill their bank account and learn this business faster, just because they're sitting in front of more people that are following the system. I like to use a saying where I say we do three things, bro. We buy leads, we book appointments, help families. Yep. So I want to ask you, and guys, if you have any questions, just drop them in the group chat. Just drop them in the chat. I want to ask you, what does it look like? What did it look like from coming from Uber to coming into this business? Maybe like, what did your schedule look like? What was one of the hardest things that you had to overcome to start out producing the way you did in the beginning? And what is one of the things that you can contribute to having that success early?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, one, I had a good support system. My wife being able to allow me to, just focus on what I needed to do to get out the gate and be successful. And then, the communication and what it was going to take to be successful. And also the discipline that was already there from working hard. With Uber, I was putting in 60, 70 hours a week. So as a family, we already had the dynamic that, hey, when I need to go to work, I got to hop in the car, turn on the app and go, and I'm gone, 12 hours. And so what I did and what helped me when I got started was I just converted those hours to doing that in this business. And then had that support. For those of you that are in a relationship, you need the support of your spouse, especially when you're getting started, to make sure that you could commit and get out the gate and learn as much as possible. Because what you're trying to do is what you were just saying, Kyrie, is you're trying to condense the time frame. You could take 3 months to learn something, or you could condense that and learn it in 2-3 weeks. Why not learn it faster and get better faster? So having that work ethic already, I just applied that. In my first month, I made 11,000. Second month was 18, and then next was 23. That was my first 3 months, and then I just went up from there. But the key to it was just getting leads, and I always, thankfully, I guess I was meant to be a business owner, because I always understood that you got to invest. And then you got to be willing to bet on yourself and go out and get a return on that investment. I think a lot of people sometimes are shy at getting out the gate and making the investment in the leads and betting on themselves that I'm going to work as hard as I can to go get a return. And the great thing with our business, you could get a 5+X return on any investment you make. So you can't be afraid of doing that. And you got to be willing to put in the work. And a couple of my struggles when I got started, one, I was used to customer service. You got to be nice to your passengers, make them comfortable, so you could get a 5-star review. So I wasn't, used to being direct with clients and telling them what they needed to do, not just what felt comfortable. Does that make sense? And so I had to get out of my comfort zone of being comfortable and not being direct, and learn how to be more direct with clients, setting the proper structure from the phone to the appointment itself, to make sure that I can guide that family through the process of protecting themselves and making the best decision today, not trying to tell me I need to think about it or whatever the case may be. So, when I got started, Kyrie, I was running appointments with old leads. I was running second chance leads. That's all I did. It was, my leads were what you call age leads in CRM right now. There were, I was started in 2017. I was down leads from 2016 and 2015, but still was selling. And so I was dealing with a lot of clients that were older. And, I come from a generation where you respect your elders. So, you got to watch how you talk to folks. And I got confused thinking that being direct is disrespectful. But not being direct is disrespectful, because if you're not direct, then they don't make the decision to protect their family. And that's disrespecting their family, because now they don't have protection, and who knows when they're going to do it, because they're used to procrastinating. Does that make sense? And so, yeah, that's one of the things I learned initially. That was a struggle, and it was just trial and error. And then what I would do is, in between appointments, I would be replaying the podcast like what we have it now. Back then, it was just a recording of in-home presentation from different producers, and I'll just make adjustments. And I'll listen and I'll say, oh, okay, that's where I messed up. I didn't say this, I didn't say that. And so for me, it was really a learning process of trying to constantly improve and get better, and working on this like it's a craft, and not just like, hey, it's just some job. Does that make sense? So that was one of the things I struggled with. And, thankfully, I was able to get better at that. And then also, I was just willing to do whatever it takes, man. After my first 3 months of working second chance leads, I was like, you know what? I'd like to work some new leads. And at that time, we didn't have internet life leads that's helping us kill it now. We didn't have Facebook leads even at that time. This was 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. So a lot of what we did was mail generated. So what I did was I found the next area available, closest area available that had the mortgage mailers, which thankfully we don't have to do that now, but it was 6 hours away. And so I was traveling 6 hours away for like a year and a half to run appointments. And, you know, because, you know, I wanted to be able to provide for my family, and, you know, I was willing to do what it takes. And I think, you know, if you're willing to do that and do whatever it takes, the key is that you're not going to do that forever, because with this business, if you put in a high level of activity up front, and you just focus, you know, for the first 12 months, I always tell new agents, you want to look at this with a 12-month game plan. Like, don't think, oh, I'm going to try this for 30 days, 60 days, and then I'm going to, you know, quit if it doesn't work out. You know, most people, you know, when you go to college, you commit for 4 years. You don't even know if that's going to work out. And it definitely doesn't always work out, because you pay all that money and come out, you don't have a job lined up. And then, you know, your career is not in demand. But with this, if you focus for 12 months and say, hey, I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna give this the best shot I got for 12 months, man, your life will be completely different in 3 months if you have that long-term game plan and you put that amount of focus and effort into what you're trying to do here, and not give up on yourself. And then when you get to month 9, month 10, and you start getting the back-end commission, it really gets good, because now you're getting a couple $1,000s a month from work that you did 10 months ago on top of the money that you're currently making. And this thing just, you know, it changes, the game changes at that point. So,
yeah, no. So I want to ask you a question, and so I know you came out and you started killing it in the field, and you just followed the system. You bought leads, you help families, and you actually dialed the phone. So how long did it take you to start hiring people and, you know, start letting people know about the business? Because we have something here where we say, when you make your first 5,000, you have to tell someone. You don't have to wait to make your first 5,000. You can do it after your first 1,500 deposit. When you make your first 5,000, you have to tell someone. Yeah. Because usually if you do it right, it's your first week.
Yeah, absolutely. Within 7 days, you should be writing something.
There you go.
Yeah, I waited too long, and I was a little I had a little bit of PTSD, if you will, because I was part of a network marketing business before Family First Life back in the day. So from 2005 to 2011, I was in network marketing. And you know, in network marketing, they ask you to recruit everybody and their mama. And so once I left that, I said, man, I'm never doing anything where I got to hire anybody again. And so I just stuck to the corporate job, and I was trying to grow in that area, climb the ladder until they fired me. And I realized I got to build my own ladder and be my own boss. But I allowed that experience to slow me down in hiring, which I don't recommend. And I'll explain why. Once I started making good money, I started sharing what I was doing on social media. And some of my top agents in our agency came from me sharing what I was doing on social media. You know, our top producer last month, he did 38,000. He's a friend of mine that I've known for 10 years. We had another producer, I think he did like 28,000. Another friend of mine, he's actually my daughter's godfather. And he saw my social media post, and he made, I think, close to 300,000 last year. And just to think that, man, if I had not opened up my mouth, that's a family that would not have that income to be able to provide for himself and his wife and his kids. And so, you know, when I look back, I wish I had started sooner. And I definitely recommend new agents to start right away, even before you sell your own policy. But definitely, like you said, once you hit that 5K mark. And the reason being is, I said this to somebody the other day. I was like, hey, if you saw, you know, before being an entrepreneur, if you saw that there was a job that was hiring, right? Even if you had another job, but you knew somebody might be looking for a job, you'll say, hey, man, I know Amazon's hiring, you know, and, you know, they're paying this much. Even if you don't work there, just because you see them advertising. And so here at Family First Life, you're here, you see what people are making, agents like myself and others, you know, like Corey and everybody that, you know, that's on this call, and, you know, other producers in different agencies. Why not share and give somebody the opportunity to be able to make that money, even as you're getting started? You know, for me, it's about not being selfish. and wanting to make sure that somebody else is in a good position. So yeah, out the gate, I'd say start hiring, start giving people the opportunity to put their family in a better position.
So I typically always ask this question with anybody, and I typically always get the same answer, but just a different view or a different way of getting to that point. Some people got off to it right away. Some people took a little while to get there. But I want to ask, you got plenty of producers that's doing 20, 30, 40,000 a month. You've written at that clip yourself, you write at that clip yourself. So I want to ask, how much money are you spending a week on leads, or your top producer spending a week on leads? Also, I want to ask, it's kind of a couple parts to this question, and you can kind of answer it in the orders. How much money are you spending on leads? How many dials are they making, or how long are they dialing on Monday and Thursdays? And then the end result obviously equals to how many families they help, and that ends the number. So really those two things are what we're going to hang on, I guess, if you can.
Perfect, man. Yeah. And that's the core of what we do, guys. If you could just look at what you do and realize, hey, so I use this analogy. I say you got to be bipolar in this business, and no offense to anybody that may be bipolar. But what I mean is this: you have to be the employer and the employee. So as the employer, you've got to be able to set that schedule for the employee, that, you know, and what you want them to do. And then as the employee, you got to go do it. So you're both, but you gotta treat it with that level of importance, and you got to look at it from that perspective. So how does that tie in? I mean, from a standpoint of investing in leads, me myself, last month I issued 32,000, consistently in that range, and I'm spending about 1,500 a week on leads. Right, I do a mixture of all leads, because lead to me is a lead. I'm looking for somebody that has expressed interest in life insurance, and then I can identify their need and win the opportunity to be their agent. I don't care what kind of lead it is. It could be a new internet life lead, a 1-month-old internet life lead, a brand new mortgage lead. Fine. It just I just want enough leads on a weekly basis, and I try to make sure every dial day I've got 50 to 100 new to me leads, meaning that I've never booked an appointment with them before. I may have called them before, or they might be brand new, but they're new to me because I never booked an appointment. So that's what I'm shooting for, and then I'm dialing through as much as I can until I get the necessary appointments, which is 10 to 15 every 2 days. I run the same, FFL schedule. Mondays I dial, Thursdays I dial, and in the field 4 days a week. And so most of our agents that are top producers, that's the range you want to be in, 1,500 to 2,000 a week in leads to be able to produce 30,000 plus. And most of our agents start at about 1,000 a week in leads, just brand new agents, just to give you plenty of opportunities to have people to call on and be able to book appointments and compensate for the lack of experience that you have at the moment. And then for me, Kyrie, it's like dials. I stopped counting my dials. Now I do recommend using a dial tracker.
Or even hours, more so
yeah.
like a specific, like do you dial from, or do your top producers dial from 8 to 8, from 9 to 5, just a typical schedule, because
Yeah, 100%. So that's the exact schedule. So basically 8 to 8, we'll have some trainings in between, like you guys break for training now. And it's really that same mentality from with me and Uber. It's like whatever it takes, right? Some days are better than others. Some days it's like, man, everybody's picking up. Like I called like 10 leads back to back, and they all answered today. I was like, man, I don't want to stop calling, because so some days you have that. Some days, I've been dialing for an hour and nobody's answered the phone. So it's just whatever it takes to be able to get the job done, and know that, okay, your money is made on the phone, or our money is made on the phone. Because once you have the appointment booked, then it's just, going out and protecting the families and, collecting the check. So the hard work here is sitting down in the air condition and being disciplined enough to dial through and identify the clients that are going to say, yeah, come over and meet with me, or set up a Zoom and meet with me, whatever approach you're taking to your business. So, dial day is, hey, 8 to 8. Hopefully we get done sooner. We could get some training in, or, spend some time with the family in the evening, whatever that looks like. But, and for new agents, I highly recommend tracking your dials when you get out the gate, until you develop that discipline of dialing until the job is done. Because you'll head fake yourself and you'll think, hey man, I've been dialing all day. Kyrie said I need to dial 8 to 8. It's 8:30, and then you look at your dial sheet and you only made 200 dials. You weren't dialing all day. You took all day to dial. 200 dials, you should be done in maybe 3 hours. You know what I mean? And so you want to make sure you use that dial tracker, because it helps you check your progress. And that's a great coaching tool where you could send to your mentor and say, hey, here's what I did. Here's how many hours it took. What do I need to adjust? And, being coachable, being willing to, or being open to evaluation, and look at this. The way I approach my business is like I'm an athlete. I'm always looking at how can I get an edge? How can I increase my performance in every area of what I'm doing? And, getting advice and feedback is key. So. Does that answer your question?
No, you answered it perfectly. Well in depth. Jonathan Persina and a lot of the top producers, they're all up close to this area. Actually, Jonathan's office in the other building over there. And I remember he said something to me. It was a while back when I first started, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when Family First Life. And he was like, it actually costs more to spend less. And it took me into literally, this year to really understand that. I mean, my first year I was able to do 300,000 personally, and this year I inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I had to do to make the Hall of Fame, I had to do 70,000 last month in December, and I ended up doing 81,000. And the strategy, I started my strategy and my lead strategy 2 months prior. And I did the numbers. I ended up spending 17,500 to issue pay 81,000. And, obviously I've been doing this for a while, but the numbers play out. What I realized is you did 32,000 and you said you spent 1,500 on leads. That's 6,000 to make 32. I just did a training on this about a week or two ago, and that was the exact number. I said, if you spend 1,500 a week on leads, you'll issue pay 30. And if your comp is at 100%, we know you move up fast in this business, and no one starts lower than 100, really. So let's just say if it's more than 100, gravy. But let's just say 100% comp. You'll issue pay 30. You'll take away your 6,000 from leads, which will leave you 24. You'll take your 75%, which will probably have you netting right around 19 to 18,000. So let's take the lower amount of 18,000.
Yep.
Now that's a net of 18,000 directly deposited in your bank account.
Yeah.
Guys, the numbers are the numbers, right? They work, whether it's Jermaine, whether it's myself, whether it's Andrew Taylor, Paul McLean, Genevieve, whether it's, Matt Smith, doesn't matter who it is, right? The numbers work. The real question is, are you working in numbers? Because like what Jermaine just said is, you can trick yourself into believing that you work. You can start at 8 and then it's 8 o'clock at night and you're like, man, I've been here all day. You're tired, you're upset that you're not where you want to be. And then we go look at the dial tracker. And like you said, you made $200 for the whole 8-hour shift or 12-hour shift, 10-hour shift with some breaks inside, and you only made $200. You could have did that in 3 hours. Now, it could be 2 reasons why it's that. 1, you're distracted, or 2, you didn't buy enough leads, right? So the biggest thing is you want to get yourself almost immediately, like he said, if you're a new agent, to spending $1,000 a week, right? And then what you do is you increase. You want to get better. You never want to decrease in the amount you spend. So if you start off spending 1,000, you should never ever spend less than 1,000. Then you go to 1,500. Then you go to 2,000, and you take it to wherever you want to take it. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. I mean, no one's special. I'm not more special than anybody on my team for doing 81,000. I just spend more money on leads. You know what I mean? It's consistency that wins this battle, because there's so many residual incomes and, so many different ways where you can grow. And this is one of the most best businesses I've ever been in, where your income drives based off how many people you help. So the person who helps the most people is going to win.
Going to win all the time, 100%. That's so true, man. And I mean, I try to get agents to understand that, Kyrie, because it's just a numbers game, and I think the key too in this business, you have to be emotionally intelligent, and really all that means is you got to take your emotions out of it. Now, when you're sitting with the client, it's an emotional sale. But other than that, when you're working to get to that point of getting to the table, then it's all just numbers, and you're just putting the numbers in your favor, and it makes the business so simple, because all you have to do is manipulate the numbers. Okay, do I need to get more leads on the front end, or do I need to dial my leads that I have more to get the number of appointments I need? And then when I get in front of the clients, I'm able to go ahead and help them and evoke the emotion and get the sale. But other than that, it's just a numbers game. And that's what makes sure that whether it's me, whether it's you, it's not dependent on how special you are. It's just how hard you're willing to put the numbers, in your favor. And anybody could put the numbers in their favor to be able to, win in this business. And it is a phenomenal business, man. Just to be able to, like what you said, I mean, you just said, hey, December, I'm gonna make, 80 grand. Let's go do it. Not many people have that opportunity to be able to, get up and do that as far as people that are working. But in this business, we do. So why not take advantage of it?
Absolutely. I did see a few, I saw a few hands or questions in the chat. Genesis, do we have a few in there?
No.
Or I saw a hand raised, it looked like. Whoever raised their hand in that chat, you can unmute for a quick second so you can shoot your question, Jermaine.
Yeah, any questions you have, guys? Key to my success is asking questions, because you don't know what you don't know.
So I guess my question is that, because I had my hand raised, my name is Jasmine. My question is that, so I mean, I've been doing it. I think they're doing it is great. I guess what I'm hit with now is like I have like run out of money to invest in leads. So I want to know, what is your perspective when you don't have money to invest in leads and you also have exhausted your old leads?
Okay, yeah, you got a couple options there, Jasmine, and I've been there. One, you could drum up some more market business, posting, sharing on your social media, get some more market business. And the goal there, when you do that, which if you try, you will, because everybody needs life insurance, and we see people dying every day, unfortunately. So the need is there. And when you get that money, don't spend that on bills. That money's investment. That's seed money for your leads. I see agents, like get in that position that you're in right now, which is understandable. Sometimes that happens, but we don't ever want to be there again. And then they get out, and then they're back in, because instead of going and investing and feeding the goose that's laying the golden eggs, they go and they pay the bills. Let the bills continue to be late for another week, get more leads, and triple, double, whatever, 5x that money, and then you could pay the bills. So that's one aspect. Second aspect, you can also go back through your old leads, because I'm sure everybody that you had leads for, you didn't sell them all, and the timing might not have been right. So I'm not sure how long you've been here, but if it's been even just a week, there's some leads that you could call on, and you never know, there might be a trigger event. Somebody could have just ended up in the hospital with COVID on ICU or ventilator, and now this person's like, you know what? Yeah, I told you jump off a cliff last week. Well, things have changed. I think I need to get some more coverage. And then the third thing you could do, you got a lot of teammates here. We're one team. We help each other out. There may be somebody else that has a stack of leads from last month that they haven't gone back through, and you could say, hey man, if I help, if I dial through those, can I run a couple of appointments, do a split with you, that way, you can make your money back, but I have some leads that I could work. And I'm sure if you check with whoever's mentoring you, they'd be happy to kind of connect you with somebody or themselves. But there's always a solution. So I'm glad you asked that question, because people come into that situation, from time to time, and you've got to figure it out. When I ended up in that situation, what I did is, my mom, she had a work policy. I never really pushed her for insurance, because I never really want to be that guy. And I said, hey mom, I need your help. I need to put a policy on you, so that way I could get some money to fund my business. And I wrote my mom a policy, took every penny, invested in leads, and I was back in, and I learned a lesson, because what I did was I spent my lead money instead of buying more leads. So the key to the lesson there is, you got to run this like a business. And I'll share this real quick. And then if there's any other questions, I learned this, and I didn't follow it initially. I learned this the hard way. You know, you got to look at this back to you being the employer and the employee. The money you get when you get a commission, it's not your money. It's the company's money. You need to pay yourself a portion of that money. And the way I did it was 50% I paid myself, 50% stayed in the business account to cover the business expenses like leads, number one, anything else, food, gas when I'm on the road. And that way you're never out of business. And in the key, the good way to help you with that is to have two separate accounts. It could just be two regular checking accounts, but you have two separate accounts. So all your commission going to one account, and then you do a transfer on Friday like you would if you had a job to your next checking account, and that's what you pay yourself. And that way you could operate like a business and not be out of money.
Now, I was going to have an extension to that question. So when you're doing that, right, but now also you're getting hit with chargebacks, then it's just still the same process?
When, would you say when offsetting chargebacks?
Well, when you're doing that, like when you decide to do that, but also you're getting hit with like chargebacks, it's still the same process? Yeah,
it's still the same process. I'm always going to run it like it's a business. And the key too with chargebacks is that you make sure you're constantly right in business. And that's one of the things Sean Mike talks about. Kyrie, you've probably heard him talk about this because, you know, he likes to say, hey, this business, it's like when you get a commission check, you have an unsecured loan for 9 months, basically, right? And if that charges back, you have to be in the position where you have commission coming in. One of the things I've seen one of the areas I've seen agents fail is they look at this like it's a job. So yeah, I get the commission check, I'm gonna blow all this money, but you also have to plan for, okay, in case I do get a chargeback, which only happens 2 out of 10 times, and that next commission check is going to be reduced because the chargeback's coming out, I still have funds in my business account to cover my business expenses. So if you do that, like I just explained, you should never have an issue with chargebacks because you always have money to fund the business and go to work. And then if you're always working, you'll always have money to cover that chargeback. So it's not, affecting your finances.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the nose, Jermaine, which a lot of times, like you said, people come into this business thinking it and treating it like a job, where it is a business, right?
Yep.
And a business is going to pay you as much as you feed it.
Yep.
Right. So if I open up, a hoagie shop, if I get into a real estate venture, if I, decide to start a car dealership, right? The only way that car dealership is going to expand is if I feed it and I start to expand it. And the only way you can do that is by investing into your inventory. So we got to understand that if I want to sell more cars, I got to have more inventory, meaning I have to have more cars on my lot. Yep. If I want to have a huge hoagie shop, I have to sell more hoagies, meaning I have to have more hoagie rooms. And in this business, your inventory is your leads. So if you run out of leads, you run out of inventory, you're out of business. So the number one investment you have to protect is your lead money. Yep. So when you make $3,000, you didn't make $3,000. Remember I said net. That's why I use that model net, because the net is the money you made after your leads are taken care of. Your leads are the number one thing. I always preach 5 accounts. I preach your lead account, and your number one goal in this business is get that lead account to 5,000. Yeah. And it should never, ever go below 5,000. Your second account pays your bills, your monthly expenses. And your job in this business is to create financial stability. And that means you should be creating, if your bills are $4,000 a month, you should be writing $4,000 every 2 days. You should be able to cover your monthly expenses in 2 days. And then don't change your lifestyle. The third account is going to be your emergency funds. Because your emergency funds is if your car breaks down, if the roof leaks, you shouldn't be taking money from your lead account or your personal bills. You should be taking it out of your emergency account. That gives you financial security. The fourth account is your business account. That's how you're going to expand. Because as you start to grow to a certain level, you're going to need help. Your time is valuable. Your time is worth being on the phones, booking appointments, helping families. It's worth $500, $1,000, $5,000 an hour. So then you get to hire a staff to be able to handle your back office so that you can spend more time doing income-driven activity. And that's when you're going to have your business account. And your final account is the one you starve and the one you feed last. is your personal account. And that's where you're going to go buy a new car. That's where you're going to go buy a new bag, buy a new pair of shoes, or take your wife out to dinner. But you got to have those 5 accounts. If you are not treating this like a business, you're disrespecting the business, and the business will disrespect you.
100%.
Because if you start out this thing thinking it's like a get-rich-quick scheme, it's not. It's a real business that will give you real results.
Yeah.
If you treat it accordingly.
Yeah, 100%, man. I agree. And if you don't know, ask. You know, and one of the things you have to be good at is self-evaluation. If you see that you're having the same issue over and over, it means you need to make some adjustment. And if you don't know what adjustment to make, you need to reach out to Kyrie and say, hey, man, I keep having the same issue. What adjustment would you make? What do you recommend? Because if you're just going to keep doing what you're doing, you're going to have the same result. And that's insanity. So that's so crucial to this business, being willing to self-evaluate.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, and that's the key to growth, guys. That's the key to growth, is being able to be coachable and admit and look at and be able to evaluate what it is you need to get better on and work on it. Be a student. When I first started this business, guys, I didn't have, leads or anything, right? I started at another company at a lower comp with no leads, right? But I understood that the more I get in front of people, or the more people I sit down with or talk to about insurance, I'm going to eventually sell it, because everybody needs it. So I just played that numbers game. I literally had my first 10 appointments, booked within a couple weeks. And I didn't even really know the products. I just knew term a little bit. I knew a little bit of whole life. I didn't know much. So what I did was, before I went out on my appointments, I stayed an hour or two after to sit down with my mentor at the time and learn the products. And he's like, man, I didn't see anybody do this in a long time. Literally set themselves up with appointments to go see people and don't even know the products. Because I understood it's simple, right? Life insurance pays if you die, right? You pay a certain amount for it, and then it pays out. You're exchanging pennies for dollars. I get that, right? That's a concept. So all I need to know is what products to put people in, to put each person in, because everybody is different. So Miss Becky is 50. I just need to know what product to give her that's going to be best for her. If Jermaine's 20, I need to know what product to do that. I just want to know all the products. That's it. I learned that, and I went out my first month. I made $7,000 on a 45% comp with no leads.
Wow.
I said it's over with. I bought my time back, guys. Initially, you should not be coming into this business to become a millionaire. That'll be the byproduct of how many people you can help. But initially, you should be coming in this business for financial freedom, not to replace the income. Because if you're making $80,000 a year and you're trying to replace the $80,000 a year, what happens when you make 90? You're still working a job. It's just over broke. You come to this opportunity to reach financial security and financial freedom. So whatever that is for you, guys, anybody on this call that is licensed and out here running, and we didn't have a conversation and evaluate a strategy and a plan to grow your business so that you can reach financial security for you. And financial security is having those 5 accounts set up as soon as possible, because it takes away the stress. And now it allows you to really get better in this business. You should be able to do that within 3 months and then really take time to learn this business. But until you got the stress off your back, you're not really learning this business, right? And what's going to happen? You may end up leaving an opportunity of a lifetime because you didn't follow the system properly, or you didn't give it enough time or energy or effort. But it's something. And my uncle always say this, and guys, if you've been on my team long enough, you've heard me say it plenty of times, and I'll never stop saying it until it's beating your head. POUR is an acronym. It stands for passing over opportunity repeatedly.
I love it.
Guys, you do not want to be a person who passed over opportunities repeatedly. The most smartest, the most wealthiest, the most successful people are always open up for opportunities. And we all have an opportunity to grow when we have people like Jermaine Clifford on this call, who has success, who has a $500,000 agency a month, who's already written over 300,000 before, who already has agents who've written over 300,000. You can always learn. And that next opportunity may be the opportunity that take you to that next level. So guys, if you're not registered for convention, it will be advantageous to do it. It will be very smart to do it. If you don't do it, then you may be leaving out hundreds of thousands, maybe millions on the table, because you're going to have self-made millionaires at this conference who are just like me and you. Common, regular, ordinary people doing extraordinary things by following a simple system.
Yeah. And Kyrie, if I can add to that, you know, the reason I had the success I had out the gate is I attended the sales conferences. I got started in the summer and I attended 3 of the summer sales conferences. And what I was trying to do, to me, it just always made sense. You know, you could look at it 2 ways, right? If I'm in basketball and, you know, Steph Curry, LeBron James, and whoever is putting on a clinic, and I could go and I'm trying to be the best at my game, there's no way I'm missing that if I can attend, because I'm trying to be the best at my game, or I'm trying to get more proficient at my game. And then also, I always understood that, you know, I could, you know, do something and learn it the hard way, or I could learn from somebody that's already done it, made all the mistakes and figured it out and not have to make those same mistakes. And that's what convention is. It's all those 2 things combined. You're learning from Steph Curry, LeBron James of our industry, and they're willing to share the quote unquote secrets, which there's none here at FFL. You've heard all of them already on this call, but specifically to their process and how they approach the business. And then you're able to utilize that to collapse the time frame. So instead of you taking 6 months of experience to learn something, that you're going to learn if you're trying to be successful in this business, and if you're going to give it that 12 months minimum that I talk about, you go to that 3-day event and you learn 6 months worth of experience. You get 6 months worth of experience in 3 days. Who would not do that? Like, I don't care what you've got on the schedule, barring, you know, some family urgent situation, but man, why not save 6 months of time and effort and headache and energy by investing 3 days into a free event? And yeah, it might cost you to get there, it might cost you to stay there, it might cost you to eat there, but that's an investment that's going to pay you dividends, like thousands, and not just thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so I would definitely implore you, if you're not already signed up, fflconvention.com, soon as this call is over, go there, start looking at, booking, registering and booking airline tickets, because you don't want to miss that event, man. And they have, in the top of the top, in addition to the top producers and everybody that's going to be training, they have a guy named Dave Anderson, and he's a performance coach for top athletes. And just to, like I always, Tim Grover is Michael Jordan's coach, and he coached Kobe as well. I forgot the name of his book, but I always thought, man, it would be cool to have a coach like that and learn some of the techniques and tips that they're teaching these athletes that perform at the highest level. Dave Anderson is that guy. However, in addition to athletes, he coaches performance in business at the highest level, and you're able to learn from him concepts and principles to apply to kind of exponentially maximize this opportunity, and you learn practical tips on what to do from these top producers. So needless to say, you could tell how passionate I am about it because of how much it's helped my career. So if you're on this call, I want to see you there.
Absolutely. And I love the passion, man, because when you're doing something that you love and that changes your life, change others' lives, it's impossible not to be. And guys, everybody's like Jermaine. Everybody's like myself. We're one big family. We're all willing to help. So this is your opportunity to get to personally shake hands and pick the brains of some of these people like Jermaine that you've seen on the YouTube videos, outside of myself, outside of your Corey's, outside of your Cindy's and the people that in our agency, Jeff B, and all these different top producers we have. This is the time to go see some of these other guys from these other teams that we're all in family and learn from, right? Because you're going to be as successful as the top people in your circle. You're going to be successful as the people you talk to for no reason, right? So whether you're just sitting at a conference and you look over and you see a Steve Giordano and you just have a conversation with him, or a Jonathan Brasino, or a Nina, or any of these top producers that you may identify with, or you may look at and think they're so amazing because they're writing $100,000 a month, or their agency is doing $1 million plus a month. And you just sit down and have a conversation with them, and at the very least, you'll realize like they're just human. They just work really hard, and if I do what they do, I can get what they have. And I mean, Jermaine, guys, if you have any questions for them, drop it in the chat, raise your hand, unmute. I want y'all to take advantage of this. Otherwise, I do want to respect this time, and I'll give y'all some time to ask any questions. But while they're doing that, if you want to give any closing statements or any great advice for a newer agent, maybe an agent that's been around that's still struggling a little bit, or maybe an agent that's doing well and comfortable, but can take it to the next level, not just for themselves, because somebody else is behind them, waiting for them to get to the next level. So they owe it to the next person.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the biggest thing I could tell you guys is communication in this business. You know, obviously working hard, but communication. And I like to say, this is where I learned it. It's like my mentor, Mike Kilmet, he's an integrity partner. He's the one that hired me actually. He likes to say, don't die on an island. And what I mean by that is if you're struggling in your business, one, accept the fact that there's something that you need to change, because the buck stops with you. It's nobody else's fault. It's something that you need to adjust. And so you got to realize that, and then be willing to ask for help. Be humble enough and be willing enough to say, hey, you know what? I need to do something different. I may not know what I need to do, so let me reach out. And evaluate yourself on a weekly basis. Did I hit the goals that I had, set for this week? And if not, what should I change? And if I don't know, who can I talk to get their perspective, and then be able to make the adjustments necessary? Because like Kyrie's saying, you should be financially secure in this business. You should have financial independence. And I love the way you say it. Those 5 accounts is kind of, hey, here's your definition of financial security and independence. And within 3 months, you should be able to accomplish that. And if you don't have that, then you need to look at, what do I need to change? And if you don't know, then you need to reach out and get some help. So don't be afraid of asking for help, and make sure that you're evaluating yourself. This opportunity is too phenomenal, too great. This does not discriminate. So, believe in yourself, believe you can do it, and then just figure out what you need to do to make it happen. So, unless there's any questions, man, that's all I got.
No, I appreciate you, man. You dropped some nuggets on here, man. And, this is one that we're definitely going to have circulating. We record everything. So guys, when you watch these videos, each time you watch it, you may pick up something new. You got to be a student of the business, attend to everything that we have accessible to us. And guys, I look forward to growing with this team. Jermaine, I'm happy that you came on and blessed us with these jewels. If there's anything we can do or I can do, let's make it happen. We're one big family. And let's make it to the top, guys. It's a beautiful opportunity. Don't let it pass you by. All right, guys.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. See you guys at the convention.
All right, bro.
All right.